So today we're going to cover 2 course modules for Skool 101.
Yep.
We're going to finish this course because it's almost the end of the year. And we're going to start with reducing churn. And the key with churn, I think, is to think of it as a leaky bucket, right? And so basically, just imagine your community like this if you're trying to grow. So you've got like a tap coming in. This is new members, right? And then you have your MRR, which is monthly recurring revenue, your income level. And that's like the level of water in the bucket. And then you've got churned members, which are the members that are canceling and leaving, right?
Yep.
And so churn is like having a leaky bucket. The higher your churn, the more leaks you have, the bigger the holes, right? And so if you're trying to fill up your bucket, which is like filling up your MRR, there's really like 2 things you can do. You can like plug the holes or just pour more water in.
Yep.
Both work, but it really is hard to grow big when you have a lot of churn because you just need more and more traffic, more and more members all the time. And it eventually like catches up with you, honestly. And so I'm going to show you examples of a group that's like growing, which is more new members than churned. And so here is a group that is growing, right? You can see their MRR is going up month over month. Now the red bar is the red thing there, that's churn, right? So that's like members that left. And the green bar there is members that joined.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see that consistently there's more members joining than leaving.
Yes.
Which is why MRR is growing up, right? So yeah, and they've got good retention, right? So that's why they're growing. Now, a group that's flat, some people might wonder, hey, I was growing, but now I'm just flat for multiple months. What's going on? Well, the same new members are probably joining as churned. Now, here's an example of that. So you can see this group was growing when there was more new than churned, but then they kind of have been flat.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the green bar and the red bar, they basically cancel each other out, right? And so it's just, what they add new is what they also lose, and so they're kind of flat. And then the third one, which is, declining. So that's when MRR is going down. And that's when there's less new members than churned each month. And so here you can see, it's going down month over month, and it's because there's more red than green, which means, more people are leaving than joining, and so MRR goes down. Leaky bucket, right?
Yep.
So that's how you want to think about churn. So what does good churn look like? If you've got a paid community, you've got MRR, and you want to know, am I doing good? Am I doing bad? Like, how do you know that? Mm-hmm. So there's 2 ways to look at it. You might hear us refer to it as churn and retention. It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, they're opposite to each other.
Yeah, basically, if your churn is like 10%, your retention's like 90.
Mm-hmm.
So, churn is what you keep. Churn is what you lose. They're basically the same thing.
Yeah, retention's what you keep. Churn is what you lose.
So average retention platform-wide is 80% per month. That means that you could say that's churn of 20,
mm-hmm.
right? So that's about average. So if you're doing better than this, you're doing good. And if you're doing worse than this, you're not doing as good. So good retention, like some of the best groups, they're 90% plus, which means their churn is 10% or less, right? And bad or not so good retention is 70% or less, which means their churn is like around 30%, right?
Yep. So if you've got bad retention, you'll get a lot of leverage by focusing on increasing your retention. I will say it depends on price. If your price is more expensive, you can expect retention to be lower. These are just rough benchmarks.
Yeah, and you don't need to panic because I've seen many people who have had 70% retention who have got it down to 10% or less.
Yep.
And so we're going to show you exactly how you do that. Yeah. So the first thing, and this is honestly so important and I swear most people don't understand this, and it's probably one of the most important things you could know about a recurring revenue business, especially one on Skool. The longer members stay, the less they churn. And we have all the data on this. We've been doing this for years. We've got like millions of people on Skool, and we've looked at it. And so months 1, 2, and 3 are the highest churn months. And, average churn for these months is about 20% across the platform, right? Month 1 tends to be the highest. Mm-hmm. Month 2 is the second highest, and month 3 is the third highest, mm-hmm. right? But then if you can keep a member for 90 days, they are unlikely to churn beyond that. So at around like month 3 or day 90, churn is getting down to 10% or less on average, right? And then what's really cool to see is at month 6 onwards, churn is down to like 2% or less.
That's crazy. So that means platform-wide, the average of all groups, month 6, the average churn is 2%.
Yes.
That's insane.
Yeah, so the biggest trap I've seen people make is they launch their membership community, they get a whole bunch of people in, then they see their churn for their first month, mm-hmm. and it's high, mm-hmm. And they think, oh my God, this sucks and I need to, I don't know, they panic.
Yep.
Everyone's month 1 churn is high. So
yes.
You need to just stick it out. So if your group is only 90 days old, your churn numbers will be inflated, mm-hmm. right? Even if your group isn't 6 months old, your churn is basically inflated, mm-hmm. because you have no members that have gotten to the 10% or 2% zones, yep. right? Yeah. So the most important thing with a recurring revenue business, churn is an extremely important thing in a recurring revenue membership business. And the most important thing with churn is time. Mm-hmm. So the thing about time is you have to be patient, right?
Yeah.
And it's so important to stick with this for a while to truly understand your retention.
Yep.
Because if you only do it for 1 month, your churn is probably going to be 20 or 30%, right? Mm-hmm. But a lot of things are going on there. One is that's kind of normal. You just don't have, those members haven't matured yet and they haven't gotten to month 3, month 6. Mm-hmm. And the other one is this is brand new. You have not optimized anything.
Yep.
So, that's why I think this is the most important lesson, because even before you optimize anything, this is going on anyway. So you might be panicking and thinking your churn's really high, but it's just not, it hasn't been enough time.
Yeah.
So you might not even need to do anything.
Yeah.
Right?
Generally, churn decreases as a group gets older because more and more people reach that 6-month mark. So
exactly.
Your churn decreases even if you don't do anything.
Yeah. So if your churn, these are good numbers, right? But these are also really good numbers to keep in mind. But yeah, you don't need to panic in the first few months. I think you need to wait, at least kind of 90 days, unless 100% of people are churning. Then you've probably got enough signal to react now, right? But if your month 1, 2, 3 churn are around 20%, you don't need to panic, mm-hmm. because they might just sort themselves out. Yeah.
Yep.
Now, let's say you understand this, which is very important, how to reduce churn. So now that you understand it, how do you change it? How do you influence it? Well, honestly, the best thing you can possibly do, which sounds so simple, is just to ask the members why they canceled.
Yep. And luckily on Skool, when someone is canceling, you have some time before their membership ends, where you can reach out to them and ask, hey, why are you canceling?
So you can go to your members and you can go to canceling. Declined just means that, they declined, so they didn't do this intentionally. But cancelled, so here's Lily.
Lily.
Yeah, why did you cancel, Lily?
Leaving Dollar Club?
I'm heartbroken.
What a snake.
Lily's a member of our team, by the way.
So you could reach out to her and you could ask her.
I could send her a chat and be like, hey, Lily, I see you cancelled.
Why?
Yeah, can you please let me know what happened? And yeah, just listen, right? And you don't need to react like a knee-jerk reaction to just one piece of feedback.
Yep.
Like collect multiple
Yep.
pieces of feedback, and then you can spot like patterns, right? The patterns are key. Because one member might cancel just because it wasn't for them, and that's fine. You're looking for the person that would have been your ideal customer, but they canceled for a reason. If someone wasn't your ideal customer and they canceled, well, that's just normal. And then maybe you should adjust your about page kind of copy or whatever, or how you're bringing members in, right?
Yep.
But if they are your ideal customer and they canceled, well, you really want to know why for them.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason why churn in month 1 is so much higher, because some people join and the group just isn't for them, so they leave. And I think that's a big thing. People think that churn is a bad thing. If you see someone leaving, it feels bad. But with these businesses, there will always be churn. It's not that you're doing something wrong necessarily. It's just a part of the business.
Yeah. And you can even ask members that cancel their trial, like if you're doing free trials, it's not technically churn if they cancel their trial, but it's kind of the same thing. Like they had an intention to join, but they decided to bail. That's the same kind of feedback, right? Yeah. And then, the opposite to this is ask your best members why they stayed.
Yep.
So you could, look at the members that you're like, oh man, I love these members. Like, how can we get more of these members? Or like, why do these members stick for a year or 6 months or whatever? You could look at your members and find the ones that have been in there the longest and talk to them and really start to understand why they stayed, right? And if you spot the same patterns between people that stay and the same patterns between people that leave, now you can start to optimize things a bit. So if everybody is canceling for the same reason, can you fix it? So a good example here, I think, is price. Sometimes people say it's just too expensive. And 2 real examples of this is Evelyn, and I'll pull this one up, and Skate IQ. So I was talking to them at the recent Skool games, and Evelyn had started her community at $11 or something, and then her price had crept up to $100. And when people were canceling their trials and when people were churning, she would ask them, and they always said the same thing: it's just too much money. So she decided to come out with a lower price that was $33, right? So that was her way to lower the barrier of entry into her thing. And then she got the features balanced right so that, she still gets the 99s, but for the people that weren't able to stay. And this worked out really well for her. Same thing happened with Skate IQ. So they have a skateboarding community, and their price was $29 a month, right? And a lot of people were canceling, and they asked them why, and it was the price. So they came out with the $9 standard.
Look at that last benefit.
I will love you forever. Yeah. So, and it depends if they're the people you want too. If they're people that you're not targeting and they're saying it's too expensive, well, then that's fine. That's your intention with that. But, Evelyn and Skate IQ found that these were their ideal members. They were the members they really wanted, but they were still canceling due to price. And so they came up with a lower tier. And honestly, this change really unlocked a lot of growth and improved retention significantly for Skate IQ and for Grow with Evelyn. Now, the key thing there is they didn't just make a tier because they felt like it. They observed truly a problem. They talked to their members. It was a common pattern, and then they responded to that. And that's how you make your best improvements and changes, right?
Yep.
But, a lot of people might just say, oh, this takes up too much time. It's too overwhelming, or I don't feel like I can utilize this fully. A lot of the time when people are overwhelmed or they say, I can't utilize this fully, or I don't have enough time, it means there's too much. And so, a tendency a lot of people have is just to add because you're giving value, you're giving more.
Yep.
That must be perceived as better. But if someone can't use or utilize what you're giving them, they feel bad because they're paying for it and they're not using it. And so they feel like it's a waste.
Yep.
And they can't keep up. So by doing less, you actually can retain them more.
Yep. Best example of that is the AI Jack one, where his churn went from 30% to 5.2%.
Yeah, this is a great example. He says it right here.
You're not deleting enough.
We took our churn from 30 to 5. So when I was saying before, don't panic when it's 30, you can bring it to 5 or less. Apparently I gave some good advice. And basically it was overwhelm equals higher churn. He assumed people would read everything. They don't. Simplicity is good, blah, blah, blah. He basically deleted lots of stuff. He deleted the stuff that people didn't really care about. And then his retention improved. So by doing less stuff, AI Jack was able to keep more people. Pretty straightforward.
Yep. A good way to view it is it's not about how much stuff you have, it's how good the stuff you have is.
Yeah. Yeah, and we did something similar to this with Skoolers. There was like, we were posting a lot, like Kirby would post something and I would post something and there was multiple posts. And I could tell, like, you know, whenever an owner admin posts, it like notifies everyone. And if people are like getting too many notifications for the owner and it's like too much, they feel overwhelmed and they churn. And so now we only do like one post a week. And we try to just roll everything up in one thing, which is what we're doing right now. One call a week, one recording a week, one post a week, and it's all the same thing. And we were able to bring, you know, churn right down.
Yeah, people want to feel like they're able to keep up with everything. And as soon as there's too much stuff, they feel like they're not keeping up with it. So they feel like they're not getting the value. So they churn.
Yeah, I think one of the key feelings behind retention is like belonging or feeling a part of it, right? Mm-hmm. You want to feel a part of something, a community, right? And so in order to feel like you're a part of it, you need to be able to keep up. You need to be on the same page, because if you're behind, you'll never feel like you're keeping up. So in order to have that feeling of belonging, you need to keep up. And in order to keep up, because people are busy, you know, they've got families, they've got jobs and things, it needs to be palatable for them with a smaller amount of time. If you're full time on this, then you have a lot of time. But your members might not, right?
Yeah, your members are not full-time in your group. You are full-time in your group. Your members are not full-time in your group.
Yeah, and so one thing that's, you know, you want to kind of design for the extremes in a way, and that is like, you want to think about the person that's got a family, that has a job that's super busy, right? Like imagine kids running around, chores, and a job and everything, and they also want to be a part of your community. They've got barely much time to invest in your community each week. They should have a way to keep up just from like a distance. But then you want to have some depth too, so that those hardcore people can be in there like 12 hours a day. And that's what I mean by designing for the extremes, because when you do that, you'll get the middle. You'll get everything basically. And so Skoolers is like that. You know, Skoolers, you can really...
you can spend all day in there.
Yeah, you could spend your whole life in here, but you can also just keep up with 30 minutes a week, which is Skool News, right? One post and 30 minutes a week, and you have the same understanding as most of the other people in here.
Yeah.
Right? That was a key thing we did this year. And then if people are staying for the same reasons, can you emphasize them, right? So if people love the calls, how could you get more people onto the calls? Or if there's a particular piece of training or insight that people have, how can you get them to? You know, and that's the thing. When you find the thing that makes people stick, anything that isn't that thing just reduces the chances that they do that thing, right? So if you remove, I think I always have thought of like snakes and ladders. You've played that game. A ladder is like a good thing and a snake is like a bad thing. If you've got a lot of snakes in your community, like there's a lot of chances someone's going to like churn.
Yeah.
So
that's a good analogy. And then if there is a really long ladder, you want to move it as close to the beginning as humanly possible. So if everyone loves a specific training or a call that you do, put it into the onboarding. As soon as someone joins, let them know about it. put it earlier on in your course so that everyone gets the value as quickly as possible.
Yeah, like a pinned post at the top of the community can be a great, it's like, they're probably going to see it as one of the first things. Yeah, maybe even an auto DM that just tells people like, hey, you should check out this thing. Yeah, like think about their onboarding experience. Like imagine you don't know anything about this. You just buy, like, what's the first thing you see? And what are you most likely to do as your first couple of actions? And are those the things that are probably going to make the person stick, right? Yeah. So there's that.
The biggest pattern that we've seen for reducing churn is simply just show up daily and care for your community. If you're running a community and they don't feel like you're active in the community, they don't feel like you care about them, then of course they won't stay. It's a community and people need to feel cared about in order to be valued in the community.
Yeah, so I do think that you should ask your members why they cancelled, and you should ask them why they stayed, because that they will just tell you, and that will be the best advice, even better than what we say, because that will be very specific to your scenario. But we can share some common things that we've observed across all these different communities over the years. And just, I've actually never seen a case where this doesn't work and it's always present, which, like Kirby said, just show up and care. Show up daily. We've got this guy, Nick Sarayev. He did this. He was the GOAT for a while.
Yeah, he was making 300 grand a month, and everyone thought that he had some crazy tactics, some secret tips that got him to such a high level. But he made this post, and the summary of this super long post is basically he just showed up every day and helped the people in his community.
Yeah, and you can see it on his profile, right? He's got the fire.
Yeah.
And you can see he shows up every damn day. I mean, shit, he's got a better activity chart than mine, right? So yeah, like when the owner cares, the members care, because you're setting the standard. You're leading by example, right?
Yep.
So that goes without saying. Show up daily and actually care. Honestly, everything flows from that.
Yep. We've covered the next.
Yeah, we said if price is the issue, consider adding a lower tier, reducing overwhelm by deleting things. Weekly call and recording can be huge because, when you just read text content and you see an image, it doesn't have a whole lot of depth. But once you've been on a call with someone, you now hear their voice and you interact with them as you would if you kind of saw their face in person.
Yeah.
And so now that deepens the relationship, it strengthens it. And now when you see that face and name in text form in the community, it has more
100%
meaning, right? Yep. It also adds a live element to things because, sometimes if someone people like different formats. Some people like to be all in the posts and comments. Other people just like to show up live and do that. And then honestly, we've found most people just like the recordings of the live.
Yep.
Because they're busy, right? And you can catch up.
Yeah, so many times we've heard people say that they had a weekly call, things were great. Then they added all of this crazy other stuff. They added 3 extra calls a week. They added all this course content and churn went down. And then they went back to just the weekly call. And
churn went up. Yeah. And so in, Skoolers, we've been through this ourselves. Like the course is super simple. It's just like 9 modules. None of them are that long.
Yep.
And then the community always just has like a pinned post. And there's only 1 call on the calendar each week. And then we record it.
Yeah. And sometimes they're like 20 minutes long.
Yeah. Now this one's really useful. Adding an annual option with a discount.
Yep.
So in general, when people buy annual, they churn less. Not just because they can't churn in their first year, obviously, but even when you factor that in, they still retain more.
Yeah.
So because, it's more of a commitment, right? And one way to kind of think about it is the more like decisions someone has, the higher the odds of them like canceling. So like when you charge someone every month, not only could their payment fail or whatever, but it's like they think, do I want to do it another month? But when it's once a year, that's only 1. So in general, the less choices, the higher the retention. And to do that, like I'll go into my test group here. When you're adding a price, right, you can just have a monthly price, or you can have a monthly and annual price. And, standard kind of practice is about 17% discount.
Yep.
Which is what most software companies do. If it's $10 a month, it's $100 a year. But if you paid monthly, it's $120.
Mm-hmm.
Just this alone, you'll find a decent chunk of people opt for the annual, and that will help your retention a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Just that alone could improve things significantly.
That helps a lot.
Just honestly, you do that, you might shave it. It could shave it in half.
Yeah, and then if you do that, you can make a post announcing that you're doing this.
Yeah, like honestly, if your churn's 20, just that could make it 10 if people are opting for it, right? If no one takes it, it won't have much of an impact, but yeah. And then building culture with one-on-one relationships, connecting people, events, and fun.
Yeah.
So this is going more into that feeling of belonging, identity. Like I've found my people, I've found my tribe. These are my friends, and a good feeling. Like when people feel good in a place, they don't want that to go away.
Mm-hmm.
And so, the best communities have really strong cultures. They've got friendships and strong relationships.
Yep. And the best way to do that, especially in the beginning, is just to build relationships with people one-on-one. Chat with them in the DMs, get on calls with them, because when there's a lot of strong individual relationships, then there's a strong community, which is the relationships between everyone.
Yeah, and we talked about this in a previous module called 10 True Regulars.
Yep.
It's the key to communities, honestly. You should watch it again. But, basically people think you need a lot of members to have an engaged community. The secret is you only really need
10.
A tight group of 10.
Yeah. And
the key to that is to befriend the most hardcore people that you think are the model citizens for this place.
Yep.
And then, now they're going to keep showing up because they like you, you've got a relationship, and yeah, that's really the key.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's it for reducing churn. Now let's flip over to community management. So this is the last module in the course.
Finally.
And the key to community management is to think about it like a garden. So good communities are like well-kept gardens, right? Now this is not really a garden, it's more of a tree, but maybe a tree could be a garden. A tree could be included in a garden.
Bad community on the left, good community on the right.
Yeah, dead, alive.
Yep.
Now, when you don't tend to your garden/community, it looks like this. When you do care to it, it looks like this. People like things like this. They don't like things like that. So how do you tend to your garden? Well, you remove the weeds.
Yep. If you have a garden and you have a weed can quickly kill all of the good plants.
And weeds grow fast.
Yes.
Yeah.
So get rid of the bad stuff, like posts,
bad comments, and negative people.
Yeah.
Because if you don't remove this and constantly tend to it, it will suffocate all of the good stuff. The good people will leave, and then the bad things will fester, and it will go downhill very fast. And there's, something pretty insightful here called broken window theory. And basically they found in neighborhoods that have high crime, when there's a broken window or graffiti, there becomes more broken windows and more graffiti. Because if you think about it, if you're walking down the street and you see a broken window, what does that really tell you? It tells you that you can do that. And it kind of prompts you and it makes you think that the place isn't policed.
Yep.
And then when there's a lot of that, you're like, oh, this place is a free-for-all now. And so they actually found that by fixing broken windows and cleaning up the neighborhood, it reduced crime. Yeah. So the same is really true in your community. If you let bad people constantly post, and if you let bad people constantly ruin it, And if you let bad people keep joining and everything, it will just bring more bad people, more posts and comments and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this refers to spammers, people that are clearly just here to negatively affect the community, but also to people that just bring the vibe of the community down. And those are the people that are harder to remove because you feel bad. But if you don't and they keep bringing the vibe down, they bring it down for everyone and can quickly ruin a community.
Yeah, and we'll tell you how to deal with these people soon. So you need to remove the weeds, and then you need to add water. And, you know, really what that is in a community is new members, engagement, and things to do. Now, new members is really key. Like if there's not new people constantly kind of joining, it does kind of get stale. There needs to be new life. Engagement, that's you showing up, interacting with people, and other people showing up and interacting. And things to do could be things like a call or a challenge or whatever. And then, very important, leaving room for things to emerge. You can do too much gardening in a way, right? Like if you are too like intense with deleting things and banning things and blocking things, and then no one feels like they can do or say anything.
Yeah, have you ever been to one of those gardens that just feel too neatly done?
I'm thinking of a bonsai tree.
Yeah.
Which is why it's so small.
Yeah,
and it takes like 100 years to grow. Yeah.
Sometimes you go to these gardens and they're too neatly done and it doesn't feel natural and it ruins the vibe.
Yeah, a little bit. And it kind of depends what you're going for too. Like if it's too clean, it's kind of boring, honestly. You want a little bit of like, just a little bit. It keeps things exciting. And if you don't leave room for things to emerge, like the culture's going to come from the people, not just from you top down. A lot of things in a community are bottom up, not just top down.
Yes.
And so you need, the culture's going to come up, new characters are going to come up, and they're so important in the community. Like these are your 10 true regulars and stuff. And you know, these people aren't you. And I think some people are like, oh, this person isn't me, and they're starting to be influential, so let's ban them.
Yeah, a lot of people have that instinct. They're like, I am the owner and they are the members. They are beneath me. But when you bring characters up, then it creates so much more of an engaging community, because even if people don't like you anymore, there's still other community members that they like to keep them in.
Well, a community really is people, like multiple people, not just one. And so, you know, it's like a lecture versus a party, right? We talked about this earlier. But like, you know, one thing that we thought about when we were doing Skool is we called it like community on every surface. And it was like, we should never do anything alone. So even with Skool News, it's you and me, right? Like at the Skool Games events, there's always more than one person. So, you know, when there is always like a group dynamic.
Oh, it's way more interesting.
It's more interesting. And it, you know, the best podcasts are like that too, which is interesting. It's like a sitcom kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
There's more complex interactions and stuff.
Yeah, imagine if Friends was just Joey.
Yeah. And so, you know, a good example of this in Skool is like Goose. Like he's his own unique character and he goes around the world doing all kinds of things. And he brings his own kind of style to Skool, and there's a blend of things. Like Evelyn, she does ads and she's got a very different style, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, Matthew Thompson likes doing podcast stuff, and, you know, everyone has their own different kind of thing. And even Kirby, who's doing this with me right here, he was a member in the community and now he's here. Yeah. Rituals, like you might see these things that start happening. A good example of this is recently, everyone just started putting these damn Santa hats on, honestly. I basically got peer pressured to put this Santa hat on. Like 6 people DM'd me. And then everyone started doing it.
Yep.
And then even our app icon had a Santa hat on it.
That's great.
But it's kind of like a theme or it's these
fun.
little things that really make people feel a part of something.
Yes.
Inside jokes, you know, that was like the cat, right? And just fun. Don't underestimate fun. It's not just about value and stuff. There's got to be some fun too, I think.
Yep. So how do you put all of this into practice?
Well, again, the number one secret is just showing up daily and actually caring. Now, how do you do this? Well, you visit your community. That's step one. It all starts here.
It's kind of important, that one.
Yeah. And then, this is how I think about it. I visit the community. The first thing I do is like my chores. I'm like, I got to do this crap. So I clear my notifications. I respond to my DMs. If there's reported content, I deal with that. Membership requests, you deal with those. You just get these things down to zero. That's what I like to do first.
Yeah, people always think that your DMs are going to be like 1,000, but they're 0 every day.
Well, right now they're 9 and 9.
Oof, slacking.
Then once I've done that, I like to read the new posts and comments. Now, when your group gets massive, you can't read all of them, but in the beginning, I was reading like all of them. And it all starts really by just reading through them.
Yep.
And if there's something you like it.
Yeah, really community management is like rewarding the things that you like and removing the things that you don't like. And just the like button is such a good way to say, I like this thing. And when you show people that you like something, they're more likely to do more of it.
But I think a lot of people think that the way you do something is by posting. But if I think about the action I do the most of, it's reading. Really, I read more than anything, reading what other people are saying. And then when I like something, I just click the like button. Don't underestimate what this does.
Yep.
People really notice when the owner likes this thing. I know because people tag me in social media posts and they're like, oh my God, Sam just liked my post. And I'm like, they thought that was so important that they posted about it. Or if Hormozy likes someone's thing, they're like, they freak out. People pay attention.
Yep.
And then delete the things that ruin the vibe. And we can show you how to do that. We'll show you in a second, like the exact way to do that. And this could be posts, it could be comments, right? And then you join in the conversation where it feels right. You do not need to inject yourself into everything because that can get a bit weird and it's just like, oh, this is just a public customer support system instead of a community. If you don't leave some things, then other people won't interact.
Yeah, that's the other thing. If someone makes a post, you don't have to respond straight away because you think that that's great customer service. Sometimes by the owner responding too quickly, it removes the space for the other community members to connect by leaving comments.
Yeah, so there is no actual like logic behind this. I just vibe it basically. I'm just like, I read through things, I like some things, delete some things, and then I join in. And sometimes all I say is congrats. Sometimes I just drop 3 hearts.
Yep.
Or it doesn't have to be like intense, like an essay. And other times I might just say, why? ? And then other times I actually answer someone's question if it's a question. But I'm not just looking to answer questions. Sometimes I'm looking to explore what they're saying a bit more by asking why. Other times I'm just trying to say congrats or that I love what they just shared, right? Like you're not just there as like this robot to answer questions. It's, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then this one's huge, like pinning great comments and posts.
Yes.
So if you see a good comment, you're like, damn, that one's a banger. You pin it.
Yeah, this is one of the best things that you can do.
Right now, there's a pinned comment here. So how you pin a comment is you click on these and you go pin comment. You can only have one pinned comment.
Yep. And when you do that, they get an email saying, congratulations, your post has been pinned.
Yeah. They really know about it when they get pinned. And then their likes shoot up because they're at the top.
Yep.
So that's how you pin a comment. And then you can pin a post by, hey, look at this one. Show up every day.
Yep.
You just go pin to feed and it puts it at the top like this.
Yep.
Pinning is...
It's powerful.
It's like a mega like. So pinning does a lot of things. So first of all is if someone does something good, you give them a huge reward.
Yep.
And they're more likely now to do that again.
Yes.
They're also more likely to engage and retain, and you want them to engage and retain because they're your ideal person with your ideal behavior, right? Mm-hmm. But then this is the other thing it does, which is even more impactful. everyone else sees that and they think, oh, that's what good looks like in here.
Yes.
So, and they want to be pinned, right? So they think, well, if I want to be pinned, I need to do that. And then so the whole culture and behavior of the group shifts more towards that.
Yep. There's been times we've pinned a post in Schoolers, and then the next day we wake up and there's like 10 posts exactly the same style as the one that we pinned.
Yep, exactly. So now you might wonder, like, how do you know which things to like, to delete? How do you know where to join in, and how do you know what to pin? Honestly, you don't unless you actually read some stuff, which is why I think this is the main action, honestly.
You should bold it.
I'll do better.
Ooh, the underline. Wow.
It all begins here.
Yeah.
But I can't do this until I've done my chores, basically. And you can't do that unless you visit, right? So like, this is how I do it. Now, I think these are like the minimum kind of requirements for a decent community.
Yep.
Right? If you don't do this, you're really going to suck. If you do these two, you can scrape by, but you're below average. If you do this, you're like, you're
okay.
above average, I think, just above. But if you want to be exceptional, it's these last two things, right? So the last two, if you've got time for these, and some days you don't. You know, some days all I can do is this.
Yeah, or even none.
Yeah, and you know, if it's the weekend, like on a Sunday, I don't even do any of it.
Yeah.
But then it's, if you've got spare time, it's this: building relationships with core members via DMs, one-on-one calls, meetups.
Yeah, we've repeated that so many times in this course because it's important.
You know, and sometimes when I notice there's a model citizen or something, it could be Evelyn or Calvin or Max Persin or whatever, right? Or you in the earlier days, I just send a message and I just say, sup.
Yep.
That's my style.
Normally it's sup MF.
You know, if that's not your style, don't do that. But you don't need to say anything sophisticated, and then they might respond back and say, yo. And then I might just say, how's school going for you? ?
You ask that question to everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm checking in. I'm like, how's school going? And then they'll tell me. And then if the conversation starts going somewhere, I might be like, Zoom ? They're like, yes. And I give them a Zoom link. Now we're on Zoom. You know, and sometimes through these DMs and stuff, I might find out that like, oh, Max Persin's going to be in California. I'm like, you should come up to the office. You should hang out. We should have lunch.
Yeah, how long did you spend with Max Persin the other day?
That was extreme. So I'm not saying you have to do that, but you know, Max came over for lunch and then we talked about school for 12 hours. That's
meaning midnight.
Yeah, he came at 12, he left at 12.
And then the new goat, Spencer, came on Saturday and we were here all day with him as well.
Yeah, that's a bit too intense, I think. It was because my family was away and I was like, yeah, and it just kind of happened. I don't know how. But yeah, you build relationships with the core members, and the ultimate relationship is when, you know, you get on calls, you're DMing, and then, you know, you meet in person. And when those relationships have matured a bit, like we've known Max for years now, and you for years, it gets even stronger. And when people join a community and see that there's deep multi-year relationships and friendships in there, they're like, oh, it changes everything.
It makes it feel stable. As soon as you see that people have been in for a long time and the core true regulars haven't changed for a long time, you feel like, oh, this is a real community. It's stable. I can make this my home, and it's not just going to blow up one day and everyone's going to fall out.
Yeah. Some of the best podcasts happen when there's more than one host and they've been friends for years before they made a podcast. So it has that instant chemistry that people can feel. And you know what's funny? When the friends kind of drift apart because they get busy or whatever, and the podcast starts to decline, a lot of people say it's because they're not spending as much time together.
Interesting.
Same thing happens with bands, by the way. Like, they can't even make good sound unless they spend a lot of time together. So, like, that's what people notice and feel when they join, and that's very, like, magnetic. That's what makes it feel like a good place to be.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's I guess this brings this last point home, which is get a feel for the community and ask yourself how you can make it better.
Yeah.
This is not a metric or it's a feeling.
Yep.
And when you do something a lot and you care about it, you can start to feel it.
Yep, you get an intuition for how the community's going. Are people happy? Are people sad? What are they feeling about this trend, that trend?
Yeah, sometimes I check the community and I'm like, damn, this place is buzzing. Everyone's like super like hyped.
Yep.
And there's been times in the past where I check it and I'm like, oh my God, I got to fix these problems. And it's so obvious. I'm actually in quite a bit of pain.
Yeah, and you can't do that without number 3. Like, how can you feel the community if you're not in the community? Exactly.
So yeah, these last 2 are how you make it exceptional. This is how you survive. And this here is how you are a little bit above average, right? Now, this is really common, like dealing with trouble members. Everyone's going to get their first one of these at some point, right?
Yep.
So there's different kinds and flavors of trouble members. The easiest one to deal with is just straight up spam.
Yes.
Like if someone just spams some bullshit, it's so easy to deal with. You just ban and delete the last 7 days.
Yeah.
So I'll show you how you do that.
And this is more likely to happen in free groups.
This is definitely not acceptable. So let's delete and ban user. I'm not actually going to do that. Like I was hoping there was this extra step after I click that. So you click delete last 7 days.
And what that does is it gets rid of all of their posts and all of their comments in the last 7 days, and it bans them. This is the ultimate nuke if someone's a true spammer.
Yes, because they might have done more than just one post or comment or whatever. And if you want to see if they've done like more than one post or comment or whatever, you can just view their profile and like see all of the stuff, right?
Yep.
And that's a great way to get rid of everything with one click. So if it's clearly spam, easy. Ban plus delete last 7 days.
Yep.
You don't even need to give feedback. Honestly, it just doesn't matter because they know what they did. And yeah. This is where it gets more tricky, when it's like more this gray area. So it's against the rules, or this is not what you want in the community. It's not spam. It's not obvious, but you can tell it's not, it doesn't have the right intention.
It could be like self-promotion. It could be low quality, like if someone just types in bleh and then clicks post, that sort of thing.
Yeah. And so, this is what we do. You can do whatever you want, but we don't like to, when it's, spam, we don't care. We just ban and delete. But if it's just against the rules, people can make mistakes if they're new. They might not understand the space. So if it's like first offense, we just delete with feedback. How you do that is you go to like this, and you can go like delete. And when you click delete, it asks you what rule did they break. You can select it, like whatever the rule is.
Yep.
You can add additional feedback if you want and click delete.
Yep. And they will get an email explaining which rule they broke and any feedback that you left them to understand why their post was deleted.
Yeah. This is a really nice feature because, if you can't give feedback and you just delete something and then they're like, what happened to my thing? Then they're in this weird situation because they're like, did I even post it? Was it a glitch? Am I crazy? Like,
yeah. And they can't learn.
That's the other thing. Yeah. They might just think it was a glitch and post it again. So if you click, around here, give some feedback, then delete, they'll get an email, and the email even contains a copy of their post.
Yes.
So they don't lose their whole post, which makes them feel better too. And then they can see their post or comment and compare it to the rule you said they broke, and they can course correct, right? So we highly recommend this feature. So first offense, delete with feedback. Second offense, delete with feedback plus probably a DM.
Yep. Sometimes people don't check their emails. They miss the post, so you can DM them to let them know why their post was deleted.
Yeah. Yeah. This is key. Sometimes, once they see that it's a bit more serious, or they might have missed the feedback, or they might have a question and then they course correct. And then if, they do it again, you can just delete with feedback plus ban, right? Unless you're feeling charitable.
Yeah. honestly, it's a vibes-based approach. Like, just take all the context you know about this person. If someone just makes a mistake, they didn't understand, you don't have to ban them. This is just like rough principles.
And honestly, what's happened to us, like actually a few times now, which is probably worth mentioning, is we've banned some people before. And then they've been like upset about it and we've DM'd them and stuff.
Yeah.
And then they wanted to come back and they promised they would change.
Yep.
And I said, well, we're just going to keep you out for an extra 30 days or something, just to, so it's still a ban, but they're able to come back, but it's an extended period. So it's kind of like a suspension or something.
Yep.
And then you let them back in.
Yeah.
And honestly, those have become some of our best members.
Yeah, literally.
Literally, some of these people have gone on to become ambassadors and power users, and some of our most engaged people ever.
Yeah. If someone's continuously posting, they clearly have some passion for the community. Sometimes they're just getting a couple things slightly wrong, so you have to ban them or give them a suspension. But when they come back, the passion's still there and they become a great member.
Yeah.
Sometimes, not always though. Sometimes people are just menaces.
Yeah, so I'm all in favor of letting people back, honestly. I think a lifetime ban for something can be pretty rough on someone if they really care about the space, right? Because what are you supposed to do? That's like pretty harsh. So yeah, I'm all in favor of letting people come back, but not instantly. I like to have a time period. It makes it more serious.
Yeah.
And they can become super good members.
Yep.
Yeah, I think some people are just not forgiving it all once people are banned. And that, yeah. And now, you can set rules for things you don't like, right? And that helps when you go to delete things because the rules will show here, right? These are our rules that we have. How we came up with these rules is we were deleting things and giving people feedback, and it most of the time fell into one of these categories.
Yeah.
Like one of them is just don't post too much. Because if someone's just post like 4 posts in an hour, it's like,
relax.
This is a good one.
Yeah.
So you come up with your rules by actually deleting and moderating for a while. Once you know what they are, you can go to your settings, you click on rules, and then you just click new rule and you type in your rule. And you can adjust your rules as you go based on how moderation has been going, right? Now, you can do this by yourself in the beginning, and it's honestly not much of a job at all when you're smaller.
Yep.
And if your group is paid and not that big, you don't even have many trouble members. You generally have more trouble members and problems like this in bigger free groups. When a group's small, it's generally pretty clean. When it's paid, it's pretty clean. Yeah, but when your group does get big, you do need moderators to help. Like if you start to feel like totally overwhelmed doing all of this yourself, you're like getting burned out.
Yep.
Which happens eventually. You need help. So how do you get moderators? What do they do? Honestly, make your most hardcore members moderators.
Yep. You can just look at your leaderboard, and oftentimes the most active people, they're already doing the moderator role to a huge degree. Like a good example of this in Skool is Jenna, who was like the most engaged person in Skool. As soon as we shipped an update, she would notice it straight away. So we reached out and we were like, we love what you're doing. Please, can you be a moderator in Skoolers?
Yep. And, they already know what to do, basically. They're already a member. They're already doing it.
Yeah.
And they like that extra status because they care about the space, right?
Yep.
Leaderboard's a great place to look. And you want to recruit people that aren't just active, but that you can tell get it. Like they really understand what you're trying to build and they understand the culture and what is allowed and what isn't, kind of thing.
Yep.
And the most important thing here is that they're already online and reading it like all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they already are. So it's just pretty straightforward. Then you want to just tell them how to do what you've been doing. You're going to probably start out doing it yourself. And then when it gets too much, you find someone from your group, you make them a mod. How you make someone a mod is you go to members, you find the person, you click membership, you change their role to moderator. Done.
Simple.
Moderators can do these things. They can approve and decline membership requests. They can delete posts and comments, change post categories, turn comments on and off. They still get points on the leaderboard, which is important because that's what they care about. If you take that away from them, they're not happy. They can still earn affiliate commissions, but they can't do some of these more critical admin things that are dangerous, like removing members, changing their roles, email broadcasts, pinning and unpinning posts, seeing members' emails, billing info, locked courses. Yeah. So a moderator is a nice, safe role. It gives them what they need, but not the things that can go quite wrong.
Yeah, perfect for power users that aren't officially on your team.
Yeah. Tell them how to do what you've been doing, and then, they're probably going to do these things: membership requests, content reports, deleting stuff, banning people.
Yep.
And they can even become a part of the culture by like building relationships with people. And
I would say removing the bad stuff is like the very basic moderator role. They've got to get rid of the bad stuff. But then a great moderator doesn't just get rid of bad stuff. They encourage more good stuff by building relationships with people, reaching out to people, telling people this post was good, pinning stuff, etc. Yeah,
what's funny as we're talking about this is like Jenna was the one that sent me all of these.
Oh, she made them for you?
She was, not only did she make them for me, she was like kind of
peer pressuring.
Yeah.
You.
So in a way, she was kind of contributing to the culture, not just doing the
deleting of bad stuff. Yeah, that's cool.
Because someone wouldn't do something like that unless they cared, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's when you know you've got a good moderator. So yeah, that's basically how you do community management. And the most important thing, if you only take one thing away from this, it's just show up daily and care. Yeah, so that's it for this module. And for Skool News Day, we were just going to cover we've finished this damn course.
That was the longest Skool News we've ever done.
Yep.
Let's see who's in the chat for staying around for an hour. Kim, Jesse, Ryan, Eloise, Kim, Wendy, Janice.
So yeah, we're gonna, now this course is finished.
Finally.
Next week, the last Skool News of the year is happening on a Monday instead of a Tuesday because I'm going on a plane. So next week, put it in your calendar. It's 10 a.m. but on Monday.
Yep. Christmas edition. Skool News Christmas edition. Wear your school or your Santa hat and your Christmas jumper.
Yep. See you next week.
See ya.